I still remember the way the sun lit up the flowers that day. Everything felt like a dream. It was Maya's wedding, my best friend since childhood. She looked like a princess in that white dress. The guests were dressed to the nines. Soft music played, people laughed, and glasses clinked. It was perfect. Until he walked in. At first, no one really noticed. He slipped through the back door, slow and quiet. But once he stepped into the light, everything stopped. He looked like he hadn't bathed in weeks. His clothes were ripped, muddy, and didn't belong in a place like this. His hair was messy, his face lined with dirt and time. People stared. Some guests laughed, others whispered behind their champagne glasses. I saw one woman wrinkle her nose in disgust. Security started walking toward him. The music stopped. Maya and her husband stood frozen at the head table, and yet, the man didn't seem bothered by any of it. He kept walking, slowly, eyes locked on Maya. No one knew who he was. Not yet, but I remember the look in Maya's eyes, shock, then confusion, then something else, like a memory trying to claw its way back. Who was this man? Why was he here dressed like that, on the most important day of her life? We were about to find out. And nothing would ever be the same again. Most people at that wedding had no idea where Maya came from. She never talked about it. Not even with her fiancé. But I knew. Because I had been there. Maya was raised by her father, just him. No mom, no siblings, no family photos on the wall. Just the two of them in a tiny rundown apartment at the edge of town. He worked hard. Too hard. Anything he could find, cleaning gutters, fixing fences, hauling junk. He always came home covered in dirt, smelling like sweat and smoke. His hands were rough, his back always aching, but he never complained. He used to sing to her at night, his voice cracked but warm. He'd say, "One day, you'll have a better life than I ever did." Maya believed him. And then one day, he was gone. She was 15. He didn't leave a note, he didn't say goodbye. She came home from school and found an empty apartment. The fridge was bare, his old boots were still by the door, like he meant to come back, but never did. At first, she cried. Every night. Then she got angry. Then she shut it all away. No one knew what happened to him. Some said he skipped town. Some whispered darker things. Maya never found out. And after a while she stopped looking. Or at least, that's what she told herself. She ended up living with a distant aunt who barely cared for her. But Maya kept going. She studied hard, got into college, worked 2 jobs, rebuilt herself from scratch. And she never spoke of her past again. She didn't want pity, she didn't want questions. She wanted to belong in this new world, one with polished floors, perfect smiles, and champagne toasts. A world where no one knew her dad once dug ditches and brought home greasy dollar bills just to keep her fed. She buried it all, deep. Until that man walked into her wedding. And everything she thought she left behind came crashing back. He stood there at the edge of the room, like he didn't belong. His boots were muddy. His shirt had holes. One sleeve hung by a thread. He looked like someone who had been living on the streets for years. And this was a 5-star venue. A woman near the bar pulled her child behind her. One of the groomsmen laughed under his breath. A group of guests turned their backs and whispered. Security moved fast. 2 men in suits approached him from either side, already reaching for his arms. That's when he spoke. "I just want to say something," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the noise like a knife. The room went still again. Maya didn't move. She stood there stiff as a statue, eyes locked on him. I looked at her, then back at the man. Something was shifting in her face. Recognition. It was small at first. A flicker in her eyes. Her lips parted slightly. "Do you know him?" her husband whispered. She didn't answer. The man turned toward her. He wasn't smiling. He looked scared. Tired. But his eyes, they were full of something else. "Hope. I won't stay long," he said softly. "Just let me speak." Security glanced at the groom, then at Maya. The room was holding its breath. Was he drunk? Dangerous? Delusional? Or was he someone important? Someone Maya had once known but left behind. The groom looked at her, confused. "Maya, who is this?" She didn't answer right away. Her voice was caught in her throat. I don't know, she whispered. But the way she said it, she wasn't sure if she was lying. One of the security guards turned to her. Do you want us to remove him? She hesitated. The whole room was watching, waiting. Then she nodded. But not to send him away. She nodded toward the mic. Let him speak, she said quietly. And the man, still shaking, stepped forward. None of us had any idea what was about to happen. The room was silent, except for the sound of his boots scraping across the floor. He walked slowly, like each step took effort. Like he wasn't sure he'd make it. Some people chuckled nervously. One man muttered, "This should be good," loud enough for those around him to hear. A few guests shook their heads, already dismissing him as some sad drunk looking for attention. But he didn't flinch. He reached the microphone, gripped it with both hands, took a breath, and then he began. I once knew a little girl, he said. His voice was rough, like gravel. She had big eyes, always asking questions, always laughing, even when there wasn't much to laugh about. Maya didn't move. She'd wait for me by the window, he continued. Every day, no matter how late I came home. She didn't care that I was covered in dirt or smelled like garbage. She'd run to me and say, "Daddy, did you bring dinner?" People shifted in their seats. My heart dropped. She loved pancakes, he said with a small smile. But only if they were shaped like animals. I wasn't any good at it, but she pretended they were elephants and giraffes anyway. Maya raised a hand to her mouth. And when she got scared of the dark, I'd lie beside her and tell her stories. About castles, magic. A brave girl who could do anything if she believed hard enough. Her eyes filled with tears. She used to draw stars on the wall with a crayon. Said they'd keep her safe while I was gone. I'd come home and find them all over the apartment. He paused, looking down. His hands trembled on the mic. But life, it got hard. I made mistakes. Some I can't undo. And one day I had to leave. Not because I wanted to, but because staying would have brought danger to her doorstep. And I couldn't let that happen. Maya was crying now, quietly. I watched her grow up from a distance, he said, his voice breaking. I missed her birthdays, her graduation, the day she got into college. I wasn't there when she needed me. And I can never take that back. The guests looked around, some of them finally understanding. But I came here today, not to ruin anything. I came because she's getting married. And even if she doesn't want me here, I just needed to say. He turned his gaze directly to Maya. I never stopped loving you. A soft gasp escaped her lips. She wasn't just hearing a story, she was in it. This wasn't a stranger. It was her father. The man who disappeared. The man she thought was dead. And now, right here at her wedding, he was back. No one said a word. The man stepped back from the microphone, his hands still trembling. His eyes never left Maya. The room felt frozen in time. Forks hovered in mid-air. Glasses stayed untouched. No one dared speak. They were all waiting, watching her. And Maya, my sweet brave Maya, looked like her entire world had cracked open. She took a shaky step forward.
He did,
she whispered. Her voice was so small I barely heard it. He nodded. Just once. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. She shook her head, tears running down her face. You left, she said. I waited. I thought you were dead. I wanted to come back, he said, voice breaking. Every single day. But I couldn't. I wasn't safe. I wasn't safe for you. People around us were trying to piece it together. I could feel the shift in the room, judgment turning into confusion, and confusion slowly melting into sympathy. He took a deep breath. I was in trouble, he said. I owed money. A lot of money. I thought I could fix it. But I was stupid. They came after me. After us. Maya stood still, trembling. They said if I didn't disappear, they'd come for you. So I left. I left everything. My job. My home. My name. He paused, swallowing hard. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was protecting you. You were just gone. Maya whispered. I needed you. I know, he said. And I failed you. Every day I stayed away. I failed you more. But I watched you. From far away. Every chance I got. You became everything I hoped for. Strong. Smart. Beautiful. You didn't need me anymore. And I didn't deserve to come back. His voice cracked on that last word. I was too ashamed. That's when Maya broke. She covered her face and sobbed, her body shaking as years of pain and longing caught up to her all at once. Her new husband reached for her hand, but she pulled away and took a step toward the man who had once sung her to sleep in a tiny broken apartment. Her father looked down, as if preparing to be turned away again. But then, she reached for him, slowly, gently, like touching a ghost. Why now? She asked through her tears. I saw the announcement online, he said. Your wedding. I knew I shouldn't come. But I couldn't miss it. I couldn't stay silent one more day. Their eyes locked, and something passed between them. Years of pain, love, guilt, and something deeper than words. Forgiveness. She collapsed into his arms. He caught her like he had when she was small. And they held each other there, in front of everyone. Bride and father. Lost and found. For a long time, no one clapped, no one moved. Because we were all crying too. Even the ones who had laughed when he walked in. Even the ones who had judged him by his dirty boots. The room stayed silent long after they embraced. No one looked proud of themselves anymore. You could feel it. Shame hanging in the air. Like smoke. The same people who had laughed when he walked in now avoided each other's eyes. They shifted in their chairs, picked at their clothes, suddenly unsure of what to do with their hands. Even the security guards, who'd been ready to drag him out minutes earlier, now stood still, their faces softening. Then the groom stepped forward. He hadn't said a word through the whole thing. He just stood there, watching Maya fall apart and piece herself back together in front of everyone, watching the man who was supposed to be a memory hold her like he never wanted to let go. The groom walked right up to him. Maya's father looked up, hesitant, bracing himself, and the groom reached out his hand. There was a moment, just a heartbeat of hesitation. Then her father took it. They shook hands, and I swear you could feel the shift in the room. That simple act, just a handshake, unlocked something. One of the bridesmaids stood up and began to clap, slowly at first, then another, and another, until the entire room joined in. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was respectful, almost apologetic. Guests started to walk up to him. A woman who had laughed earlier now stood in front of him with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't know. Another guest gave him a glass of water. Someone else brought him a chair. It was like everyone was trying to take back their judgment. Like they were trying to wash away what had happened just minutes earlier, when they saw a man who looked broken and assumed the worst. Maya sat beside her father, still holding his hand. The DJ didn't play music. The waiters didn't serve cake. For a moment, the wedding stopped being a wedding and became something else entirely. Something real. Something raw. Not just a celebration of love between two people, but a moment of compassion, of humanity. We'd all been reminded of something important. You never know someone's story just by looking at them. You never know what they've survived, what they've sacrificed, who they've loved, and how far they've come to get here. After the clapping faded, there was a moment of stillness. Then Maya stood. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. Makeup smeared, eyes red, but beautiful, not because of her dress or her hair, but because of what was shining through her, something honest. Something pure. She didn't care about the speeches anymore, or the schedule, or the flowers that were supposed to be centerpieces. None of that mattered now. She stepped off the stage and walked straight into her father's arms. They held each other so tightly it was like they were afraid to let go again. Like if they blinked, the other might vanish. Maya sobbed into his shoulder. He buried his face in her hair. No one moved. No one spoke. It was like time bent just for them, giving them back the seconds, minutes, years they'd lost. And maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe it could never be enough. But it was something, and sometimes, something is everything. When they finally pulled apart, her father looked down at her with eyes full of regret and love. I don't deserve this, he said quietly. She shook her head. Maybe not, she whispered. But you're here, that has to count for something. Then turning toward the crowd, she did something I'll never forget. She reached for her husband's hand and pulled him closer. Then she looked back at her dad and smiled. This soft, shaking smile that looked like it had taken years to learn again. Dad, she said, her voice stronger now, this is James, my husband. James nodded and stepped forward. No hesitation this time. He held out his hand again, and her father took it, this time without fear. Then Maya turned to the crowd and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. And everyone else, this is my father. Some people clapped again. Others smiled through tears. And the awkwardness, it was gone. Because now he wasn't just a dirty stranger who wandered in from the street. He was family. The rest of the wedding changed after that. The music started again. But slower, softer. Maya and her father danced. Not the traditional father-daughter dance that had been scheduled earlier, but one that meant more. No rehearsed steps. No fancy rhythm. Just the two of them, swaying side by side, like they were dancing through time. Guests came forward, one by one, to greet him, to ask about his story, to say sorry, or simply welcome. There were tears, of course, but also laughter. He told embarrassing childhood stories about Maya. She rolled her eyes and laughed, cheeks flushed, happier than I'd seen her all day. And in that moment, the wedding wasn't just about love between two people. It was about healing, about broken things being mended, about second chances. It was about the girl who once drew stars on a crumbling apartment wall, and the man who left so she could be safe. Now together again, under the lights, surrounded by the people who finally understood. I think about that day often, not because of the cake, or the dress, or the playlist we spent weeks perfecting. Those things faded, just like flowers do after a while. What stayed with me was that moment, when a broken man walked into a room full of polished people, and reminded us all what love really looks like. It's not perfect, it's not clean or easy. It's messy, uncomfortable, raw, but it's real. Maya told me later that she used to carry so much shame about her past, her father, the kind of life she tried to bury, just to feel accepted. I understood that, more than I ever said, because I used to carry shame too, for the things I didn't have, the parts of myself I tried to hide to fit in. But that day I saw what it looks like to let go, to forgive, to open your heart to someone who hurt you. Not because they earned it, but because love makes room for grace. And that changed me. It changed all of us. Maya's wedding didn't go the way we planned. It went better, because under the weight of all those judgments and broken expectations, something stronger rose up. Truth, compassion, family. That's what I'll remember. And maybe next time I see someone who doesn't fit in, I'll pause before I turn away. Because behind the dirt, there just might be a story worth listening to. If this story moved you, please like the video. It means a lot and helps us reach more people. We'd love to hear from you. So please comment your thoughts or share any similar stories you've experienced. Don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories that touch the heart. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, please share the video to inspire them. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this journey.